per person, what do you think is better, training at home or training in the gym? And furthermore, what is the expenses, pros and cons of both of those?
So I guess the biggest thing is the outlay, because a gym membership you can get from $10 a week to 15 to 20, depending on where you're training.
Yeah.
Now, buying the equipment, like just buying a leg extension with a pin loaded machine, probably costs about $3,500, like a commercial one.
Is that new?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
yeah.
go on, Gumtree.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you can find it, but some of the home gym stuff that people buy. So some of the stuff you find in hotels or randomly on Gumtree is usually like a 5 or a 3 exercise machine where you do leg extension, lat pull down, and a chest press.
Yeah.
Like, so chest back legs, like it's fine for the person that just wants to do a quick workout that's not really worried about developing their squat, don't want to do dumbbells. Because what happens with those machines, and they were really popular, particularly in the 80s and the 90s, is that you buy one machine, you get your exercise done, it's your weight stack that costs the most. So per kilo, on average, dumbbells or weight plates usually cost about between $4 and $6 per kilo. So if you think about a 20-kilo plate, you do the maths on what that is, and that's just one plate. So
I don't really want to.
yeah, well, so that's why those machines were really popular. So in terms of building a home gym on a budget, a lot of the reason why people don't do it is because they may not have the knowledge to do the exercises for the amount of money that they're willing to spend. But then the other thing as well is it's environmental. If you're in an environment where everyone else is training and working out, you're probably more likely to work out. So if you think about it, most people that like going to the gym and do exercise classes like spin and RPM, then they do those because there's other people. Plus, there's also an instructor there to tell them, to give them cues. And that's what they're
there for.
Yeah. So, but the same is if you're at any gym, and the gym you're at, it's a little bit more on the boutique side, that it has a trainer walking around when you're there. So if you do have any questions, you can ask them. So in that way, the gyms are really great in that respect because they provide support for people to help build up their knowledge to as little or as great. Some people that walk into the gym, they don't really care. They don't want to know about how many reps. They don't want to know about what muscles they are. They just want to get in there.
I just want to get in there and get it done.
Get it done, walk out, they don't care. For them in terms of priority, it probably sits out of 10. It's probably like maybe 8 or 9, because maybe for them, someone said, well, you need to do it because of bone density and health and longevity. And they're like, oh, okay, all right. So that might be them. But then you got the other people that want to know the insertion point of which muscle to which exercise does this, which contraction weight, which reps in reserve we've got to work out, how much protein synthesis are we going to get, how much protein at the end.
So gym nerds like us.
Pretty much, yeah. So
yeah, pretty much.
yeah. But in terms of like a home, particularly in COVID, training at home was, it was a little bit more popular because that's all people can do, because they didn't go to work because they were in lockdown. So a lot of people might have put up videos on Instagram or TikTok and that sort of stuff, bodyweight exercises. Like there is a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you can do, like calisthenics and that sort of stuff, if you've got the motivation. The thing is, if you're 20 kilos, 30 kilos out of your most comfortable moving sort of capacity, then doing bodyweight exercise is actually really difficult because you don't have necessarily the foundational stuff to do it, because everything's harder when you are bigger. It's so much harder. So moving and that sort of stuff, for those sort of people that sit in that range, it's probably honestly going for a walk is probably the best thing that they can possibly do, and looking at their diet. But that's not sexy. That's not what sells,
No.
If I administered to people that want that magic pill on how to get fitter and stronger and slim, and I say, well, you just need to go for a walk every day and eat this, and I'm like, well, and that'll be this much money, and they'd be like, what?
But like, no.
I'm like, I want something valuable. I'm like, well, it's a whole progressional step.
Yeah.
So with the stuff at home, like I said, there's a lot of different body weight exercises which effectively cost you as much as a yoga mat, which is $20 from Kmart probably.
Yeah.
But for people that are looking at bodybuilding specific, if I was looking at building a home gym on a budget, I'd probably think you could probably get something for under $1,000 and
Yeah.
definitely
Is
buy
that
it
per
second.
machine or,
What's that?
is that per machine or overall?
No, no. I would not buy new. If
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
definitely secondhand.
yeah,
Yeah.
every secondhand, I'd get everything secondhand. Like I'd try to get a squat cage and maybe a squat cage with a lat pull down attachment on the back,
Yeah.
and a row, because usually with those ones it has a row. You sit on the ground or you can sit on the bench doing the rowing motion because the cable works in two areas.
Yeah.
And then you could use it for arm curls, you could use it for triceps, like tricep press down, you could get a rope attachment. But then with
Yeah.
obviously the barbell, you can do the big three, like we talked about: squatting,
Yep. Big
bench, and
three.
deadlifting. Sumo
Yep.
squatting, you can do single arm pressing if you have a landmine attachment. You can do overhead press. And then obviously the weights, well, you just buy them secondhand. Usually when someone sells like a half cage. So like in terms of stuff you can buy at home, you can buy a wall mounted half cage. So what I have here in my house
Yeah. I was just about to ask you about that. Yeah.
is a freestanding half half cage, but it
Yeah.
also has a cable machine as well. So half rack, I'd look at just getting, some. You can either get bumper plates or regular steel plates. The steel plates are cheaper. The only thing is you can't drop them. Well, you can drop them on the ground. You're just going to crack your concrete if you do it.
Yeah.
But your steel plates are a lot cheaper. And then usually when people sell them, you can get them in kind of, if you get like they call them an FID bench. So an FID bench, all it stands for is flat incline decline. So you know how,
Oh, it's an
yeah,
adjustable bench.
yeah. So the technical term is FID, is that I'd get one of those. But then the other thing as well is that you can buy them and they've got a leg extension and a lying leg curl machine at the front. Like I said, in terms of what this is at an extreme level. Like if you're part of the Facebook group Garage Gyms Australia, then you'll
Yeah.
see garage gyms that are far more superior than mine. They got theirs lit up with neon lights and everything. Like
Got a
and
TV too and
oh
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like some people, I've seen one guy. He's got like a 10 by 8 meter garage that he's built,
Yeah.
and he's lined it, and he's got probably maybe six. He's got one of the machines that I've got, plus maybe a chest press, probably maybe a leg press, maybe a pendulum squat, maybe a full dumbbell rack to 50 kilos sort of thing. Like a full dumbbell rack to 50 kilos is
Oh,
upwards of $5,000, like
I mean,
new.
some guys you've seen, they've got a mini fridge of all their, I don't know, protein shakes or, just bottles
Yeah,
of water or
yeah,
something, it's mad.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, it's not necessary. You don't necessarily need that to build a great physique and that sort of stuff, because some of the racks that you could buy, that even secondhand, they come with the dips attachment. They're a full freestanding cage. You don't have to bolt them into the ground and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
terms of training at home versus at the gym, then the big question is, you have to have enough motivation to want to achieve your goals at home to
Yeah.
be able to. So like for years, I used to say to my wife, I used to be like, the gym is like my temple. It's like my church. I'd
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
break in,
I've
and
said the same.
yeah, and the idea of training at home, I used to think the only way you could train at home was one of those 3-in-1 stations doing chest press, lat pull down, leg extension. I used to laugh at that. I used to think, nah, no way, that I can't possibly do that. But then COVID hit, and then I didn't have a choice. I had to, and then it did help that I had positive role models like Jeff Alberts from 3D Muscle Journey,
Yeah.
and Brad Loomis as well, that
Yeah.
they both, and even Eric Helms, he has a similar sort of machine to mine, except I think his is pin loaded. But Jeff's been training in the home gym for like 17 or 18 years, and
Yeah,
he's got a similar machine.
I've seen the layout, and he posted videos of him training, and you're just like, wow. I've just been looking in the background at his whole setup, and I'm just like, I'm jealous.
Yeah. They were a positive sort of an example to me. And that was only in the last couple of years that I traded in my old values of like, nah, I'm hardcore. I'm going to train in the gym. Because the problem is that there was a certain amount of insecurity that would fuel me going there, even though I wouldn't necessarily admit to that. As
Yeah,
in, the people, you go into, particularly if you've been in a gym for a while, everyone knows you are, you got the social aspect and that sort of stuff. But maybe if you lift a bit heavy, you get known for being that
being
person
the
that
big guy. Yeah,
absolutely so much ego lifting and that sort of stuff. So if
yeah.
anything, I probably lift a bit lighter and a bit more sensible at home because no one's watching. The only person watching would be my dog when she decides to come and annoy me.
Yeah.
But in terms of doing one versus the other, it really depends on where that motivation and how much, whether you can outlay the money. Because if you think about it, if you train at home, if your gym membership is $2,000 a year and you can outlay maybe $5,000 if you've got it up front, even if you put it on a payment plan, but I reckon probably paid out in cash. But it just say,
Yeah.
if it was 2,000, then you'd only have to really train at home religiously for 2.5 years and you've paid your machine off. That doesn't include if someone else wants to use it in your household.
Yeah.
The downside is if you ever want to move house, it's an absolute pain in the neck. You got to unbolt the bloody thing and
Is that
pull
what
it.
you had to take it all down and
Yeah, well, my machine weighs just the machine weighs 260 kilos, not including the weights and plates. So I
damn.
I split it in two halves, and then when it got moved, I did that, and then yeah, it's a bit of that part's a bit annoying. But if I had a freestanding cage similar to, there's one of them up in the school gym.
Yeah.
It's one of the oldest silver ones that has dip attachments on it. One of those, you can pick up one of those for $300 or $400, and you can literally pick them up. Like it weighs as
Yeah.
much as two 20-kilo barbells. And
Yeah, I
even
know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
it's got the small
Yeah.
holes on them. The
Yeah. Yeah.
the guy from Garage Gym Reviews, he tested one of those. Like the weight capacity on this thing is phenomenal. But he's the guy on that YouTube channel. He's weight tested a cheap one for like $500 of Amazon, and it held in excess of 300 kilos, and the barbell bent.
Yeah.
So the it's peace of mind why people spend more money, and maybe they feel a bit better on it. But all honesty, all the stuff that they make these days, even the cheapest one you can possibly buy, it's more than enough. Your bones will
Yeah.
break quicker than that thing will ever break.
Yeah.
So,
True.
and the same goes with barbells. Like if you spend, you can spend $500 on a barbell, or you can spend what I did. I think mine was free because I got it with the weight plates, but it's
Yeah.
probably only worth about $60, $70. It's an Olympic bar. It's standard. I don't use it for Olympic lifting. I just use it for what it is. Doesn't bother
That's it.
me.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't need to, don't make it more complex than it needs to be, really.
No.
Yeah.
There's, and even with, do you need a set of dumbbells? Well, not necessarily. If that's all you can get, if you can only get a set of dumbbells, I'd probably get the adjustable ones. So you
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
get those ones from 2.5 to 40 kilos or whatever. That way it takes up a little bit less room. But the only problem is with those ones, if you drop them on their ends, it doesn't do them a lot of health. They might
A
break.
lot of good. Yeah.
No, but
But they're it's a lot cheaper, takes up a lot less room, and it's more, can be more convenient in that way. But having to
well,
readjust every
yeah, well,
time.
like
But
if you spend 15 minutes to go to the gym, 15 minutes there and back, that's half of a session if you train for an hour. Or you
yeah,
could train for an hour and a half train for your normal time plus half an hour of travel time, you're like, sweet, I'm going to do more work. So there's
True.
there's a lot of different ways to look at that. But
Pros and cons to both, really.
yeah,
You know, it's just whatever really works for you at that point in time in your life. And yeah, and just don't make it more complex than it needs to be. And that will lead you to being more consistent, basically.
hopefully.
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 We can
The
only
amount,
hope.
the amount of stuff you can buy on Gumtree that's secondhand because people have an idea, but they're unable, and for whatever reason, they're unable to follow through with it.
Yeah.
It's an advantage to the person that is acquiring their home gym because you're profiting from someone else that's trying to offload theirs. So
Yeah. Very true.
it goes full circle. So
Yeah.
yeah, doesn't always work for some people, and that's fine. That's why the gyms are, they work better for a lot of people because you can cancel your membership whenever you want. Don't have to do it. You don't have to lug around 300 kilos worth of equipment, but you also don't have the space as well.